Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for tuning in today. So, I wanted to talk about history and STEAM, okay? And the two are obviously not mutually exclusive, but what they are um, sometimes when we talk about history, we talk about history of North America and history of South America and history of all the countries. But one of the things that I've been looking at a lot lately is how we utilize the history of science, technology, engineering, arts, and math, and weave that into how we present for the future. It's not to revise history, it's not to eliminate certain aspects of history, but it's all about, okay, how did we get here? How did we get to the point of creating a computer? How did we get to the point of creating a microchip? How did we evolve to this place so that we can understand how we can move forward? I remember when I was in college, I took a course called Great Books. One of to me, it was the most amazing history course on the planet. Great job, Auburn University. And what was beautiful about it was that it took us throughout history from, I forget where we started, but we started, from centuries, ago and thousands of years ago, all the way up to the present. I believe we started even with talking about prehistoric times and everything. And so it was a beautiful experience for me because I didn't get to just learn about certain facts. What I got was an understanding of different philosophies and how math came about and how just it was just a beautiful understanding. And it wasn't just one course. It was like you had to take great books. We were on a trimester system, so you had to take great books for three trimesters. And it was just, to me, it was one of the most memorable experiences because that's when I learned about like Nietzsche and all of these other philosophers and different aspects of life, and I was always intrigued about how everything came about and how society was structured and so on and so forth. But I bring all of that up to say, I think that there's a disservice that we do if we don't start doing that in these fields. I mean, because traditionally, if you're going to talk about computer science, normally you're going to go to college before you even have that conversation. But now we're trying to usher this in to our younger folks and be able to tell them um, from a practical standpoint how we apply the sciences to our lives and how it applies to the world around us, right? Everything is about application and bringing everything into the real world. But as I think about how we're crafting some of our newer work, and I'm wanting to weave history in a beautiful, eloquent way because I think it's really, really important. And what inspired this dialogue is a conversation that we were having during a clubhouse room about education, is what I will say. And it got to be a heated conversation because of current events. But the beauty of it all was that I garnered some insights that were perfect to share with all of you, which is there are some brilliant aspects of scientific history that I think is really, really, really important for our kids to know. How, like, for example, the origin, well, folklore, the apple on the Apple computer, like the origination of how we got to AI, the origination of how we came up with the internet, and all of the new technologies that are coming to the fore now. I realized today that there's a whole new industry, and I don't want to jack up the industry name, but there is an entirely new industry. I want to make sure I may not have it, and I may have to come back to you with it tomorrow. But I'm sorry, this entire new industry was, emotional detection and recognition. I knew I would have it up for emotional detection and recognition is an entire industry that currently we're projected to grow from $19.5 billion in 2020 to $37.1 billion by 2026. Are you kidding me? For an industry that if you are not a techie, you wouldn't even know exists, right? And so these are things that are really, really important. And that's why I come in every day and I do the work, I do the research so that I can come in and share these brilliant insights with you. Because, why is it that there's an industry out there that focuses on our emotions? Because, quite frankly, they're trying to create systems that replicate us. The AI is trying to learn us and to understand consciousness so that they can create additional Sophias, or make Sophia. If you don't know who Sophia is, she is a robot that actually has citizenship in, I believe, the United Arab Emirates or Dubai, and she's a citizen of a country, even though she is a machine. And it's amazing some of the things that she can do, and how it plays into the role of AI and robotics and so on and so forth, and all of the tremendous things that are going to be taking place as they grow that particular technology. And even though she is like a human like a quasi clone of a human, there are other aspects of robotics that come into play there. And so it's really, really interesting to see how emotion plays a role in how they're going to be developing products going forward, and how this industry is taking off and nearly almost potentially doubling, not very close to doubling in less than 6 years. What is that going to look like in 10 years? So it's really, really key that we start having the dialogue with our young people about these new and emerging industries. I study them and I try to bring them forth, and I'm going to do a lot better job of finding them all so that we can have an open conversation about how we empower our young people to find their way in this. It's like it's this pathway of technology, and where do they fit, and how do they show up authentically as themselves, yet leading the way in so many different things, bringing creativity and elements of innovation and collaboration in how they show up and perform in life. And that's not just as employees, but as in relationships, collaboration, and as entrepreneurs, in building systems and corporations for people to collaborate and continue to build and iterate. And so I just want to say, I love the idea of incorporating more and more of the history that we have, to include a lot more of the innovations. I would say the innovations that have come to us, because even with arts in there's a lot to share. And I think that so much of what we learn in history is limited to, here in the US, I would say, sometimes to subject matter that isn't necessarily empowering us and catapulting us throughout the future. Because if we understand the history of medicine, for example, and the history of pharmacology and so on and so forth, it helps our young people get a perspective, right? If we look at all of these things more so from an empowering way, we empower our children to lead and to be the most creative, innovative, ingenuity-driven young people. And it's just an amazing thing. So I just wanted to come on and share that tonight, and hope that inspires someone to look into. We have tons of books. I'm going to go into and do a little bit more, a little deeper research on how we can really, really not just do a gloss over of how we got to this point, but to really see how we've evolved and how even electricity plays a role, going in our in the timeline of our future, the timeline of our lives leading towards our future. And so with that being said, I am excited about today, because I believe it's day 160. And that's a beautiful accomplishment. So we have 205 days left. I normally don't call out the days, but I'm really, really proud of it, because I made a commitment to myself and I made a commitment to you, and I'm honoring that commitment day in and day out. And it means the world to me that I came out of my comfort zone to share with the world all of these amazing things about science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. I mean, I can't believe I've turned into the ultimate, and I hate it. It's like, I'm not trying to be negative, but like the ultimate geek. I just love to talk about science and talk about cool things and technology and how it all relates and how our kiddos, and so I just look forward to all the kiddos that are like me that just get super excited about science and math and wanting to build and create and transform the world. So with that, bye-bye. I'll check in with you again tomorrow on day 161. Bye-bye.